Welcome back to another episode of the Hoopers Almanac. We are wrapping up game fours of round one, starting game fives, and Adam and I are going to go through every series tonight on this pod. We will start with the three games that happened tonight and then work our way backwards and go back in time and do the games from Sunday. And the one game that did not, one series that did not have a game on Saturday or Monday, the Knicks Hawks. We'll wrap it up there. Before we get going, though, here are our friends from Green Top. Adam, we were on the edge of our seat for a half a second there because we thought the Timberwolves were going to make a comeback, and then they stopped making a comeback, and then it kept going to 12 points, and I usually just get scared at 12-point games, and then we got more afraid because then I reminded myself that the Rockets-Lakers game 3 happened literally just not 5 days ago, so I'm like, it's just on the mind, so maybe it's always a possibility.
Yeah, I think we both expected Denver to win this game tonight and stave off elimination and force a game 6 back in Minnesota. And they had a stretch there in the third quarter where they just went nuts and got up by, I think, what was the biggest lead? 27, I think, was the biggest lead?
Yeah, I think so. Let me double check that for you. But
25 or 27, I believe was the biggest lead. But yeah, you're right. It got down to 12 there in the fourth quarter, and we were like, okay, no way. So we were like going to record early fourth quarter, and then it's like, let's hold off for a second. Let's see a little bit more of this. So there's a little peek behind the curtain for how we kind of decided to do this. But it is past midnight here is Central Time for both of us. So yeah, we are recording fresh, having watched 3 playoff games tonight. One series is over, but yeah, I know this is the one that we were kind of most looking forward to. It wasn't a great game, but I think the expected outcome that we thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the injuries to Anthony Edwards and DiVincenzo both happening in game 4, we're like, okay, there's a good chance that Denver could bounce back on their home court. Makes the most sense that this would happen. And then, like you said, the third quarter where they just run rampant all over the Timberwolves. It was pretty impressive. We were just trying to figure out, as NBA fans, how can we be happy about this series, like, and how it's gone, and what's next? Like, can the Wolves still win it without their best player and without one of its best shooters? We saw tonight that they still have some fight in them, and I still think there's a 50-50 chance they still win this because they are now up 3-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just the 2 chances, obviously, this next one being at home. I do think if they don't get this one at home, winning Game 7 on the road without Anthony Edwards would be incredibly difficult. So
I agree with that.
I imagine Aaron Gordon will play at some point in one of these 2 games if they get to a Game 7. How effective is he? I thought he obviously looked pretty hobbled in that Game 4. I was almost like scared for him. Like, should he really be out there? Is this gonna be one of those like calf injuries that turns into more? Like, please, like, I hope that's not the case. But I imagine he will give it a go at some point in these next couple of games if they get 2 chances. So that's a big key. But yeah, I mean, look, the shot creation, you've lost your main creator of offense, and then kind of your secondary guard and your starting backcourt, with Dante DiVincenzo. It was always going to be a struggle for Minnesota to score with Denver. Especially at altitude and with them shooting so well like they did today. And also that third quarter, there was it turned into like a dunk fest. It was just just straight line drives, and it was like every player on the court got a dunk for Denver. It felt like. So yeah, their defense I thought was much better today. They pressured the ball a bit more. Obviously, there's less dynamic offensive players for them to focus on now, but. I would assume it did not have 43 points again, and came back to earth a bit, and obviously we have a series here.
I'll say this: I think the adjustment that Timberwolves will make will have Conley come back off the bench. I think they start Shannon and or Bones with Io, because Randall still looked pretty well, but he only did his normal. He did what you expect him to do when he's the number one option: 27, 9, and 6 on an efficient night, but also with 5 turnovers. There was a second there where everyone kind of sat quietly because we were like, oh God, did Nas get hurt? And we're going to have another another player for the Timberwolves get hurt. So thankfully,
He did get hurt, but it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, yeah,
he did come back. He
yeah.
did come back into the game, which was nice to know. But I am very curious to kind of see what Minnesota does for Game 6 when they come home, and how can they put themselves in the best position to win that game, so that way they can get like 2 extra days rest going into round 2, rather than having to try to fight for a Game 7. Because I think that's what's going to be the key for them, is can they win this in Game 6? Because like you said, back home in Denver for the Nuggets, it's going to be tough to beat them in 7. So we'll see there.
Yeah, has it actually gone final? You have it up.
It has officially gone final.
Okay.
It's 125, 113.
Okay. So what was Jokic's turnover numbers at the end of the game? What was the?
Yeah. Jokic had 3 turnovers, 16
Okay.
assists, 3 turnovers. Now, I think 2 of the 3 of them were abysmal.
Yeah, including the inbound late when he comes back in the game and just basically threw it right to Ayo for a layup. That was just a very strange turnover, but that's much better, because he still was trying to do those like quick outlets that like led to a bunch of turnovers the other day, but he was being a tad like a beat like more patient and like kind of finding guys. They were trying to run, because I think Denver knows they're having a hard time scoring against the Minnesota's half court defense. So it's like, if we can get out in transition, get some stuff early, that's going to be good for us. So I understand his want to push the ball, but it led to some just bizarre turnovers the other night. But tonight I thought that was better. He kind of picked his spots a little bit better while still trying to push the ball. So that's obviously huge, and he was much better tonight than he was in Game 4.
The key, you talked about Aaron Gordon being out. His replacement, Spencer Jones, dropping 20 tonight was incredibly important and impressive. We talked about him earlier this year and how important he was, especially when Gordon was out during the regular season. And tonight he showed how impressive he really is. And he's been such an important player for them just this year throughout. And to see him have a game like this in the playoffs was super fun for me. We talk about Jokic all the time and Murray being like the 2 guys. Brown did not have like the greatest of offensive games. He was solid on defense. And then Cam Johnson kind of stepping up to having 19 tonight was very, very impressive. So they had the offensive night they needed from their starters. I will still and Valanciunas off the bench with 9 points in 10 minutes. I'll take that, and wanting to fight Jaden McDaniels. Although I feel like everyone just wants to fight McDaniels after his comments about no one being a good defender. So very interested to see how Game 6 goes.
I am too. This the injuries have put a damper on it, but this was kind of the series I was most excited for going into the playoffs, and it's mostly lived up to it. I think it's actually been pretty cool. I think we obviously would have expected it to go to about 6 or 7. So the fact that it's actually here, and Minnesota's got a chance to upset Denver here. But Spencer Jones was the key point. I think you're spot on with that, and I still hate his jump shot. It's effective. I just don't like looking at it. It's very annoying to watch, but he is a good player, and yeah, I think just was super solid tonight. And Cam Johnson, great bounce back game from him, because he did very little in those 2 games in Minnesota, but I thought was really, really good tonight.
Absolutely agree. Sets up a great Game 6, which I'm looking forward to.
Which is Thursday night, right? We got a couple days here.
I do believe it is Thursday night, which my question is, who's playing Wednesday?
There'll be 2 games, because there'll be Lakers will be the late one.
You're right. You're right. We talk about this later.
And then Orlando, right?
And Cleveland, Toronto will be.
There you go. Yeah, so there'll be 3 games. There'll be 3 games Wednesday.
So this Thursday, we have 4 games on Thursday, Adam.
Probably not.
Well, it'd be dependent on whether San Antonio and
Boston,
Portland, and then Boston and Philly.
I think we're only getting 2 on Thursday.
You think 2 of them end tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that mentality, because I do too. Okay. Other Western Conference game that happened tonight, the Thunder completed the sweep against the Phoenix Suns, even though the Suns had 4 guys and 20 points, which, listen, my whole theory about having 3 guys over 20 is usually you win the game. If you have 4, you're like completing it. And then the Thunder are like, oh, wait, what if we have 3 ourselves? And so then my math just goes to the shit, and we're just no longer. And then we just point it towards who's the best player in the game, and it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Just another ridiculously efficient night. Um, and this game was like the best of the 4 games that they've had in this series. And not for 1 second I think OKC was going to let control the game.
Yeah, no, they're in control the whole way. No, Shea, this was like a masterpiece series from him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
just was ridiculous. I mean, just scoring from every possible angle. Yeah, he was. I thought he was excellent. I do think like Phoenix can leave this series actually with some positives. Like I actually think like I know you get swept, and you know that's a very tough team you have to play against, but they were like in you know these 2 games in Phoenix
Yeah.
without their main guys really playing that well. Like I actually think like there's a path forward for them now. It's like okay, like there actually are some guys here who can be the core of like the next like multi-year run playoff run for the Phoenix Suns. Can they ever reach the heights of like a OKC or San Antonio? No, probably not. But barring some just like major acquisition, which I don't see where that's going to be. But
Right.
but this like you can have a respectable like 3-4 year run here, still with Devin Booker, where they can be making the playoffs for the next 3 or 4 years. I actually think that's possible now. And if you'd have told me that last summer, I would have been like, man, I do not see that at all. So they've got rock star coach and Jordan Knott. There's a blueprint there for some nice playoff seasons here. And I think that's good. That's not a terrible place to be. But yeah, like I said this, I think in our group text, like they brought a rope to a gunfight in this series. Like they just simply do not have like the firepower to hang with the Thunder.
They just don't have the size to begin
Yes.
with. Iguodaro couldn't really stand up against those guys, and then they brought in Malawach for a little bit, Rasheer Fleming for a little bit, and they were really just trusting that they could get up and run against these guys, more so just trusting their athleticism, which it worked for a little bit, but it's when you're only playing truly 7 guys and 2 guys off the bench, you're limiting your chances a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the Thunder are like, oh yeah, let's dust off Aaron Wiggins tonight. Why not? Yeah, it's like freaking like, oh yeah, Isaiah Joe's out. That's fine. We'll throw on this guy. It's like just yeah, AJ Mitchell, you'll get the start and you'll play pretty well again. It's like just whatever you need, they've got an answer for. I thought the combination of Hartenstein and Chet, I thought played really well tonight.
this was their
And
best
just
game they've had.
yes, and they just like their little high-low passing game was there. I thought Chet was like excellent tonight, but yeah, Mark Williams being out for Phoenix is big. We should mention that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, they just simply just can't hang with a team this talented.
Well, yeah, I mean, both Chet and Hartenstein both had 12 rebounds. Both had 3 assists, and each of them had a steal. Chet had 2 of them. Just their impact is just everywhere, and you
Yeah,
can count on them to be. I mean, whether one of them's on the floor or whether it's both of them, they just always know where to be, and that's exactly why OKC made that move to go get Hartenstein last summer, and it's why they won a title last year. Now, we both agree that Chet's the better player, but Hartenstein's impact is just
huge.
continuous, and
Yeah,
it's so needed. But the other thing is they still have Jay Will off the bench, who can still be like the supplementary big man if they ever need it, because he's just super fun as well. But you're right. The fact that they have their 4 guys that they played off the bench most of the minutes: Kayson Wallace, Wiggins, Caruso, and Jalen Williams. And then they still got Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, Jerry McCain
yeah,
that played a minute or a few
yeah.
minutes, and you're
Nikola
like,
Jokic. Yeah,
son of a motherless goat. What are we going
yeah,
to do here? Like,
yeah,
it's just ridiculous. I pray for the Lakers, basically, in the next round. Have fun.
yeah. It's gonna be rough. Whoever
Will
that is, I mean, even if the Rockets come back, like that's gonna be a bloodbath. Unless Luca is Luca and actually plays.
Yeah, no, I think this is a going to be a bloodbath, and I don't know what to do with it, honestly. And I think that series will be worse than this one.
Yeah, it may very well might be. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Okay. Final game of the night, which was the first game actually,
Yeah,
but the most fun of the 3, the Magic versus the Pistons. Which the fact that we haven't had one rock fight, literal like fist to cuff fight in this series, crazy. Although we almost had it last game with Stewart wanting to fight everybody.
I was gonna say there's still time. Don't
There
worry.
is.
Yeah,
There is. Magic won 94 to 88 in this game, and it was another bad inefficient Cade Cunningham game. But on the other side, the guy we have to talk about is Desmond Bain with his former teammates Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant on the sideline. And then in his limited minutes, because he also got hurt, Franz Wagner with 19 points.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where you want to start with this, but those are the two guys I wanted to highlight just real quickly because their impact. Bane just felt like he was everywhere during this game,
Yep.
and just he is so special whenever he's got it going. And I mean, listen, inefficient 7 of 18 from the field, but 5 of 10 from three. It just felt like he wasn't gonna any shot he took. It wasn't
Well,
gonna go off.
yeah. I mean, in a team that needs 3-point shooting so badly, obviously he's like kind of the one release valve they have. Franz is such a bummer, man, because I thought that was the best he looked in like months. In
Mm-hmm.
this game, like he just looked so athletic, like he was moving really well, and it's like, man, like another little thing. And he stayed on the bench. Like I don't know, we'll see what happens, but I mean, the guy who replaced him, what a game, Jamal Cain. I mean, like
Oh my!
dunk of the year. Like, oh my goodness. I got a text from another person in another group chat and it just said there was just a baptism in Orlando, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm
Oh
behind. I got to see this. And so when I caught up, I just was like, okay, that obviously was what he was talking about. Ridiculous performance, and he just was really good. Like he just played his role, got forced a couple turnovers, like just yeah, there wasn't as much of a drop off as you think there would have been with Franz coming out of the game. So about you, I mean, you mentioned it, Bane there. It's like that's like why you trade for a guy like Bane is like for moments like this. It's like
yeah.
chips are down. Like this guy like can play with anybody. That's yeah. I mean, they talent wise, it's like even. Like this is not like
Oh yeah.
if anything, the starting fives like I think are like favor Orlando. Like it's
Oh
like
yeah.
their starting five has more talent than Detroit's starting five. They were just a mess all season. So how do you feel about are you kind of rooting for someone in this series? Like, do you want like Orlando to win because like the path might be a tad easier? Like, I don't like.
I don't think it's easier though. I don't think
Yeah,
if
it's like
Orlando wins, it's easier. I don't think
yeah,
whoever wins. I think they will have. I think honestly, both second rounds in the East will be fun no matter who it is.
yeah, I
I
agree.
think
Yeah,
that's the truth of it. If it's Orlando, Toronto, it's going to be disgustingly defensive, and that might be gross to watch, but I'll still enjoy every second of it. Um, the thing is, I would like Orlando to win this because I want to feel vindicated for feeling very excited about them at the beginning of the year. Um, I also want to feel vindicated because I've been super into Anthony Black all year. I also want that the First Baptist Church of Jamal Cain to really just thrive more. That's a Carl Baltimore line and it's just it is very hard to watch this team, though, this Magic team, whenever its best player, Boncaro, is as inefficient as he was tonight. It's shots that he should be making, or it's just stupid shots that he's just like, I feel like I'm going to get a foul here, and it's the playoffs, and you're not going to draw that kind of stuff. So it just felt like there was, and we've talked about it throughout this year, just some lower IQ moments, like shot IQ moments from Boncaro tonight. And I feel like that's what made Bane be like, okay, I gotta carry, or I gotta feel like I gotta get confident. And he does not lack confidence in any
no,
sort of way or form.
no, and I think the guy whose name we have not said so far, who's been just excellent so far, is Wendell Carter. Like,
Well,
I mean, he is locked up Jalen Duren, making tons of plays on both ends of the floor. I mean, just been everything that they need, everything they need. I mean, yeah, this is like Orlando should have won this game by more. Like, this really shouldn't even been close. Like, I actually thought they outplayed them big time. But like you said, there's just too many empty possessions on offense for Orlando. And Detroit, I mean, shoot, man, huge, like huge season, number one seed. But I mean, they got to be looking in the mirror, like, wow, like why did we not do more to add more shooting? Like this was actually a really good chance for us to make a finals run if we had more shooting. Like it's just so glaring in this series. Like it's so easy for Orlando to pack the paint and just make this much more difficult on Cade. And Cade looks exhausted in the fourth quarters of these games, like because he's having to do so much. I don't blame him. He had some terrible, terrible turnovers tonight. Transition stuff, messing up 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, throwing the ball at guys' feet.
yeah,
Just yeah, uncharacteristically bad performance from him tonight. I know he scored a decent amount, but it's like I just yeah, I've
no,
not liked
it
what
was
I've seen from
gross.
Detroit. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
gross.
it's bad. Yeah. Also, like this style of game, this is nice, like every once in a while, and like it's good to have different styles of play and stuff like that. But I hope this is not what like the rest of the playoffs look like. I mean, they're not. It's not going to, right? These other the offenses are too good, but Yeah, I don't want us to go back to this era like in general. Like this is kind of fun every once in a while, but yeah, I don't want every game to look like this.
It is continuously shocking that this was the one seed and this is how their offense was the entirety of the year. Um, I I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know they have Duncan Robinson, well aware. I never think a 3-point shot is going in for them. I don't care who's taking it. It just does not feel like it's going in. And I mean, both teams shot terribly. Like Detroit was at 38. I think Orlando, yeah, they were at 33% from the field. It's gross.
Mm.
Like this is Cleveland, Toronto gross like efficiencies, and yet I'm enjoying every second of it. I don't understand it. Um, that being said, I totally agree with you. I prefer offense that makes sense and just is a lot more just like pleasing to the eye, where baskets are made more often
Well,
than
and
they
just
are.
better spacing, more shot making. Like like I said, this is fun. Like I am enjoying the series. Like I enjoyed this game tonight. Like it was a rock fight. I just don't want every game to look like this, and that's I think would become a problem. But I don't know, man. I mean, is Detroit going to do this? Like, can they actually come back? I think they'll probably win Game 5. It'll be similar to this like Denver performance, where it's like, okay, pride on the line. Like, we're the higher seed. We got to at least get this one. And so I'm sure they'll win Game 5. If they don't, obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions in the offseason. But I'm sure they'll get this at least to a Game 6. But man, what an opportunity for Orlando! I mean, just a massive opportunity. This is like the perfect way, like, to orchestrate an upset. You win Game 1 on the road. You drop Game 2, that's fine. Win both at home. That's like the huge key. Then you can lose that Game 5 and that's fine, and then win in 6. Like that's what the We Believe Warriors did. There's a bunch of series in history where the underdog does just that. The '09 Magic over the Cavs, they did that. It was exact same format, right? You lose Game 2, kind of heartbreaker. That's the LeBron kind of crazy game winner. They win both in Orlando, and then they go on to win in 6 eventually. So that would be kind of the blueprint. We'll see if it actually happens. But do you think Orlando wins the series?
Yes,
I
I
kind of do
do.
too. Yeah, I kind of do too. I think in 6. I think in Game 6.
I totally agree with you.
It's a
My
bad
question,
matchup for Detroit, man. It's just like when you watch it on the floor, you're just like, I don't, and they don't know who to finish with. It's like Karis LeVert for a stretch. It's like you Stannis Jenkins for a stretch. Like they're searching for answers. That's a number 1 seed, kind of in a must-win Game 4 shouldn't be searching for answers like that in with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
did they really just not have that many clutch games? I feel like they did. In like
They gave that stat. It was like they were like the 4th best clutch team, and Orlando was like the 5th best clutch team. They gave that stat during the game, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like that they were 2 of the top 5 kind of best
right.
teams in the clutch. It did seem I think the Orlando had played more games like that, but still,
My question is though is like you've had a bunch of these like I mean you're good in the clutch and you should know who your closing lineup is.
yeah,
I think that's the difference. That's my concern. Tobias Harris was like the only thing that felt good for
yeah.
Detroit during this entirety of the
He
game.
was great tonight. Yeah,
Yeah, and my thing is, I don't question Kate. I question Kate's decision making every now and then. Like,
oh
but
yeah,
I also think fatigue plays a factor into that,
yeah,
especially tonight. And I think Harris has been important for them. The guy I'm going to continue to look at and be like, how are you not more important? How have you not been more prevalent in this series as Jalen Duren? And
yeah.
you said it. Wendell's kind of locked him up this entire series outside of Game 2. It's just felt like there's a hole in this Detroit team, and it is Jalen Duren being just like disappearing during this game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's been lots of talk about him. I mean, so he was amazing in that stretch when Cade was hurt, towards the end of the season, and
Right.
kind of locked up his All-NBA spot in that stretch because Detroit didn't really, their record didn't really fall off when Cade went out. So it's like, oh, that's a huge testament to Duren. He started scoring more. He's not really like just a scorer, just like a straight up scorer. He's like a bigger Bam Adebayo. Like that's kind of how I think about him, right? It's like you can do all these little things. You can score kind of when you need him to, but it's not like, all right, get out of the way. We're giving it to him.
Bigger young Bam.
Yeah, young Bam. Yeah.
I was gonna say Bam can at least shoot now.
Yeah. Bam has evolved his game. Yeah, kind of Bam like the early like that kind of 2020 like bubble like that version of him. He's like a bigger version of that guy.
Yeah.
Which is a great player, obviously. That's a really good player, and he has been great this year, like no question. Yeah, Jalen Duren. I love Jalen Duren, but this is alarming because he is so clearly in his head. He's sped up. His balance looks off. He's like attacking Wendell Carter and like still kind of going up, even though he doesn't have position. Like there's some blocks where like Wendell's barely getting off the ground. Like he doesn't even have to really like. He's just challenging these pretty easily. Decision making has been poor. It's been a bad look. I mean, no question about it. I mean, he's got time here to bounce back, but I think that'd be a huge focus. I think the first play of the game they were trying to do that whole like let's get Duran a touch or whatever, and they turned it over, and it's like it just it all feels a bit forced.
It shouldn't feel forced if that's the best player.
Yeah, and you're the number one seed, right? It's like there should be a bit more of a flow to your offense here, and there's just not.
This has always been my thing with Bickerstaff. Like this is why I mean, listen, I get that the coaches all voted him coach of the year. Great for them. But this is the thing that happened in Cleveland, and this is what's happening again here. Your offenses become just so predictable or stagnant,
Yep.
and this is what we're seeing again. And we've have other coaches doing this too, all around. And yeah, this is my biggest gripe with Bickerstaff as a coach is he is such a good like a regular season coach. He can mold teams whenever like guys go out. We saw that in Cleveland when multiple injuries, they were still a very productive team. Especially this year with Detroit, with Cade being out, we've seen how they can like mold their roster to be successful during the regular season. Can you mold your roster when it's fully healthy and like create an offense that is not as predictable or reliant on one guy doing all of it? So that is my biggest gripe with how this team has looked so far.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. I'm not a coach. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time, anyways. Anything else from these?
There's a little part of me that's like I've made this joke before, but like people love upsets, right, in sports, and it's like the underdog and then all this stuff, and it's like I've always made this joke like a true empath would like really feel for the favorite, right? Because it's like you like had a better record, like you had a better season, and like you kind of should win, and like expectations are on you, and yet like kind of you fall short. Like that's really like I should feel for that person, right? But nobody thinks about it that way because like they think about it as like, oh, cool, like this like person like overcoming all these odds and winning. I actually feel a little bit bad for Detroit, like because you have this awesome season, and I don't like flip the switch teams. Like I think that's lame. Like I really wish Orlando would have actually played like this for the majority of the season, and then they'd just be like the 4 seed. It's like it's like we wouldn't even be in this situation. I feel for Detroit in that sense. Like they just got kind of dealt a really tough hand, a bad matchup, and a team that just kind of decided like, okay, like during that Charlotte game or before that Charlotte game or something, be like, let's just go. And they look completely different than they did like 2 weeks ago.
So I agree and disagree. I agree that they look completely different. However, I think what we've seen is just different players in each of these wins kind of become important. We've seen Paolo like early on, like he was very important. Franz has had a few games. Suggs has had a few games. Tonight, awful Suggs game. Yep. Bane had not been great until these past 2 games. I think that's the thing we're seeing though is like at least 1 or 2 of these guys every night is stepping up of those like 4 starters. And we have not, and then we also have the X factor of it all. We've never seen Wendell Carter Jr. play like this ever in his career.
Yeah, never.
So that's the thing. Like we can say that they look completely different. I totally agree. But I also think it's guys playing better than they've ever have in their career. And I think Wendell Carter is an example of that. I mean, Kane dunking over one of the best defensive anchors in the league.
Yeah.
Just the confidence is a totally different thing. And I think you're absolutely right that they flipped a switch. I also just think they became more confident within themselves.
Yeah.
And they haven't had this healthy of a roster for as consistent as they've had in a long time. I don't think Mosley has secured his job still. But maybe, did you hear that rumor that he was going to get fired at the second if they lost in the round 1?
If who lost in round 1?
If Orlando lost round 1.
Oh, I thought he was. Yeah, I figured he was going to get fired no matter what. Like whether they lost in the play-in, got through the play-in, lost in round 1. Like I mean, obviously they win the series, maybe that changes. But I thought he was done. Like no matter what happened.
Well, and that report came out after the Philly game, and so ever since then they've been playing a lot better. So I'm like, is that also a driving force? So I agree with you that they've flipped a switch. I also just think that they've got ultra confident in themselves. And for better or worse, it's worked out for them. Suggs should not be shooting 11 threes, by the way. Just really gonna point that out.
No, he was letting it fly tonight. But yeah, I guess that's maybe kind of my frustration. Is like this is in here. We kind of knew this. Like we all thought you're gonna be better, and like now we're seeing it. It's like, well, where was this? Like all year. Like that's what's frustrating to me is like they played your team game 82, and it was like pathetic. Like
it was brutal.
Like, what is this? And it's like, and here they are. I mean, who would have thought? Yeah, 2 weeks later, we're sitting here talking like, oh yeah, man, like they're up 3-1 against the number 1 seed, like crazy. So that does frustrate me a tad. But like watching the games, I'm enjoying watching it because like seeing the full version of Orlando is way more fun than seeing the whatever version it was in the regular season.
Do you think they can make the finals?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool.
Do
you think one of the 2-3 or the 2-3 or 5 seed or 4-6 seed?
And their lack of shooting is gonna hurt them against a team that can make them pay a little bit more. Yeah. They can't keep up offensively with some of like your Bostons or Cleveland or New York. So they just can't.
Their defense is what scares me for if the Knicks or if the Knicks make it to that conference finals. That'd be the one team I see Orlando actually beating is the Knicks. Like I don't.
That'd be a really interesting series. Yeah.
I don't think Atlanta's defense would be great, but I think their offense is high enough firepower. And then I think Boston's. I'm going to be biased. I think Boston's offense is just.
I think they'd struggle against Boston for sure.
I think they throw Baylor Shireman out there, just throw PTSD in their face. Just be like, hey, you remember this guy? He dropped 30 in your face.
Ron Harper Jr.
Honestly, just bring Ron Harper Jr. out of the woodwork just for that for game 1. Starting lineup is the starting lineup.
Just whoever played in game 82.
Yeah, please. And I think.
No, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, obviously we're a good ways away from that. So
we're also recording this at 12:45 in the morning, so that's how you know psychedelic it's gotten right now. Anything else about these 3 games for the night?
No, we can move on.
We're gonna do a quick rewind. We're gonna go back to ourselves talking earlier tonight about the other 5 series that have happened so far, and we are much more sane during those 5 during those discussions. So let's rewind and go back to those. Well, now we're going to rewind, and we're going to go back in time. This is a part that we recorded before all the games started tonight, before the tip-off of Magic Pistons. So you heard us all talk about that right before this. So, but not the point now. We're actually going to talk now about the games that happened on Sunday and the one series that's not being played tonight that happened on Saturday, the Knicks-Hawks. But we're going to start out east. We're going to just go through the chronological order of what happened on Sunday. And Adam, we start with the disgusting game. I don't know. I mean, probably the second worst game. Unfortunately, it's probably not even the worst game of yesterday. But even still, what felt like a early 2000s, late 90s basketball game for the first 3 quarters of yesterday's Raptors-Cavs game. Everyone was like crazy. Losing their mind because they were shooting. A bunch of Raptors players were shooting May and June tour dates, and it just felt like one of those things where we didn't know what we were going to get out of this game, and it felt like the first team to 100, the first team to 90 was going to win the game, and it happened that way.
It did. I was honestly really frustrated with the Cavs in this game because I kind of like have bigged them up a couple times, like, hey, I really think this could be conference finals team. And that's the game. This is the game, right? Like they hold the Raptors 32% shooting for the Raptors in the game, and the Raptors win the game. I mean, that's unacceptable from Cleveland. So bad turnovers from both guards. Mobley, Allen, neither one of them really showed up at all. Very, very, very frustrating performance from Cleveland, and one that's like, if you're a serious team, you just take care of business in that game. You go in game 5 at home, and you move on to the next round. And now it's going to be a grind. Now this is best of 3 series, and Toronto is playing with house money at this point. So thought there's some improvements in some guys on the Toronto side. They're also playing without their starting point guard. And Emmanuel Quickly, he hasn't played at all this series, which is like pretty impressive from this Raptors team to kind of still grind out a couple wins there at home. Thought Scotty Barnes was excellent yesterday. So, he's going to come to the fore. But yeah, I was bummed with this Cleveland performance. That to me was the one where it's like, okay, let's show that you're real. And they couldn't do it.
Did you see the viral Nick Wright tweet that was going around today about he miscalculated how many. Well, so anyways, the point of the story is James Harden has had a lot of games in the postseason where he has had more turnovers than made shots. Yesterday was one of them. He has had 44 games, postseason games in his career where he's had as many or more turnovers than made shots.
Wow.
29 of them have been more. So
Wow.
15 of them have been just like right on like 7 and made shots, 7 turnovers. Yesterday was he had 6 made shots, 7 turnovers.
And some like terrible turnovers too. Like just
tossing
the ball.
Some terrible turnovers and no hustle getting back on defense.
It was, man, just like again with this, like I don't know how I at some point, like what situation it's like, is this going to work for this guy? It's just I guess not. I guess he's just going to have these games in every series.
I was wrong about my game 1, game 4 theory. Clearly, game
4. I know you said that. It was like that was game 4. It should have been one of his good ones, but it wasn't.
Right. So now my thought is, okay, maybe it's game 4 or game 5 because now so it might be one of those things. They go back to Cleveland and he plays a little better, but it wasn't just him. Like it was clear that like yesterday they couldn't play Allen and Mobley together because of like even with the small ball lineup that the Raptors were throwing out there. Which, listen, Darko. Your team might have shot for shit, but my God, you figured out something with that small lineup with Colin Murray, Boyles. I even liked the minimal minutes we got from Pirtle. I mean, only 21 minutes yesterday, but I even still liked those minutes. But Murray Boyles was something. Awesome. He was spectacular yesterday. And you talked about the Raptors not playing with quickly. The past 2 games they started Jacoby Walter, who's been 0 for both games, and it's been. I'm like, you're playing with that as your 5th starter. Pretty sad because they've started Shed the first 2 games, and he did okay. He's much more of a defensive presence than an offensive help at all. But the fact that they are truly reliant on Barnes to do so much creation for himself, for others, Ingram has been a complete. I mean, listen, he had that one good game. What was it, a few years ago when it was the Pelicans versus
Suns?
Thank you. He had one good, like 1 or 2 games, and that's what everyone's remembering.
Yeah.
Every other playoff performance, he's been not great to absolute subpar.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I am truly like proud of Scotty Barnes. Like you said, there's a lot on his shoulders, but man, it's really indicative of what this Raptors team has even cultivated, like talent-wise up there. And the fact that they've made it as a 5th seed, even in this with this team, is pretty crazy. But it's also showing how important quickly is to this offense. And so, man, if they get him back game 5 in Cleveland, that would be pretty great. I'm not even sure like what the timeline is even on his return.
I don't think that's even on the table. It sounded like it was like a pretty bad hamstring. Partial tear maybe is what I read. So that's not a good sign. So I mean they're hamstringing themselves, no pun intended, by not having him, and then also playing guys who are going over and like really kind of like zeros on offense, and yet they find a way to kind of win these 2 games. So I think a lot of credit goes to Darko for kind of what he's done, and then Barnes too. Like Barnes just like just when they need like a bucket. He has that transition dunk, right? It's like just when they need like a big time play, draw 3 guys, kicks out, they finally knock down a 3. It's like he just is kind of finding these little like pathways to successful basketball. I mean, I don't know. Cleveland, it's like Max Strus has been solid. Like how many guys have actually played like kind of to their level or above it? Like, is it just Strus? Like Mitchell had a couple of really good games to start. Was not good in game 4 at all. I don't know. Schroeder was terrible in game 4. I just like how many guys can you actually point to? I guess. I guess that's it really.
Sam Merrill will be.
Sam Merrill had a good game 4. That's true.
And Strus had a terrible game 4. I mean, outside of just getting 7 rebounds, but like 0 for. I mean, from the field.
Right. He was better in game 3. Yeah, that's what I'm correct.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, like before yesterday, I was impressed with Mobley. But then yesterday, he had been like he was not great, 4 of 11, and it felt like the 3-pointers he took just didn't seem like timely shots yesterday. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but more so just like it didn't feel like in rhythm, like or like, man, this would be a momentum changer for sure. But like, are you even feeling it right now?
Well, they're also all very like you're open for a reason shots.
Correct. That's also completely fair. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I get concerned from the beginning with man, what are we even getting out of your what's supposed to be your third best player, your third and fourth best player in Allen and Mobley, which we had seen success with this year, like how well they could play together. And yet, somehow, when a team goes smaller, they're still somehow getting more rebounds against your bigs than you can get. So there's so many questions. This offense for Cleveland, which had looked pretty good since the Harden trade, man, if Harden's not hitting, it's just really concerning in my mind. So, man, it was brutal yesterday.
It was, yeah. But credit the Raptors. That'll be a fun game 5. That went from like kind of a the NBA TV like hopefully that's just a 5-game series and over. To now it's like that'll be fun, pretty competitive, and we'll get another game up north. So we'll see.
Game 5 will be Wednesday. They do get a 2-day break here, so
good. Okay. Same as Lakers Rockets. They also get a 2-day
correct. Break. Okay. Game number 2 of yesterday was your team, and it was a pretty fun first 3 quarters. And then the Spurs did this thing called put a hurtin' on them in the fourth. It was a 40-19 game in the fourth quarter. And just how impressive it was to see Wemby and Fox just kind of go, hey, let us run the offense here for like these last, like most of the game yesterday. Wemby kind of looked a little out of sorts to start the game, and then offensively, his defense was still incredible. And then offensively, they just kicked it into a third, fourth gear in that fourth quarter. And as a fan, Adam, I'm sure, Austin was texting us that he got a noise complaint already. So, not that you're a boisterous fan but in the moment yesterday, watching that fourth quarter, that second half mostly, like, how did that feel? You won the second half 73-35. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I was my process for yesterday. So I had practices for all of my teams yesterday. So I was gone from my house for about 5 hours. So obviously I didn't know the Spurs schedule when I made our practice schedule. So
right.
I didn't know that there'd be a game 4 of a playoff series on Sunday afternoon, right in the middle of my practices. But so I obviously didn't get to watch it live. There was a point where I was like, maybe I try and I'll put my phone away. And I was like, but I'm going to have, 40 kids coming through the doors here in the next few hours. Like, they're going to be talking about the game and like the score. They're like a bunch of them are Spurs fans. Their dads are Spurs fans. So it's like, I'm going to hear. So I was like, let's just kind of, I'll have people check it during water breaks. I'll glance at my phone every once in a while. But so I obviously knew what happened kind of going in. And then right when I got home, I watched it. So my process yesterday was basically I watched the first half of Toronto and Cleveland before I left. Came home, watched all the Spurs, all the Sixers, Celtics, went and got some food, came back, watched all the Lakers, Rockets, and then finished the Raptors and Cavs game at the end. So I was basically on my couch when I got home until midnight, just catching up on games. But it was awesome. An incredible Spurs performance. Again, I knew what was going to happen. So like as they're losing by 19 at one point, it's like, okay, I know we win this game by a decent amount. But I joked in practice. We're breaking out with like the my varsity guys, and one of them was like, yeah, we were down 17 at halftime. That's crazy. Won by 21. I was like, yeah, I'm no mathematician, guys, but I think that's a 38-point swing. And one kid just goes, I believe you're right, coach. I believe you're right. It's like, all right. So yeah, that is pretty cool to see that. It was an avalanche. Like, just every single thing that the Spurs do well, they did well in that third and fourth quarter, right? It's like funnel people into Wemby. They did an excellent job of that. Like, like help off of the right shooters or the wrong shooters in Portland's case. And it's like that, they did that really well. They played much faster in the second half. Fox obviously hit a bunch of shots. He was fantastic yesterday. And they got Wemby some lobs, and that opens up so much when they do that. They're just putting Robert Williams in these who's been really good in the series, but they're putting him in these really tough positions where I know his instincts are like, oh, I want to help on this guy driving. Like, he's about to shoot an open floater, but it's just like, you just can't, I know it's so counterintuitive. It's like, you got to allow these like 8-9 foot floaters, runners, because if you come up too much, the lob to Wemby is just an automatic 2 points. So it's just like, what do you do? It just puts you in such a bind. And yeah, Portland had really good stretches there in that second quarter. I thought Shaedon Sharp gave him some nice minutes in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
That was his best stretch of the series so far. But yeah, it was a very impressive second half from the Spurs, and it was fun to watch.
It was what you saw from the Blazers was they could rely on 3 players on offense: Avdia, Drew Holiday, and Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
That's all they could rely on. Scoot went 0 for yesterday, not great. Can we stop getting Chris Murray minutes? Like,
I don't understand why he's playing.
It's horrific. Give me. I'd rather have Cisco out there than Chris Murray.
Cisco, yeah, Sissoko.
Sissoko. Sorry, I it's just like the
Like the
name
thong
sounds
song. It's just
yeah. and Shaden Sharp for his defensive deficiencies is still a better creator on offense
yeah.
than a lot of these guys too.
They're
So
missing wing scoring, and Shaden Sharp can give them an element of that.
and I realize he's still like working his way back from injury,
Yeah.
but I mean, Scoot had been so important to them before yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, game 3 was pretty crazy from him, and then game 2 is solid as well. But yesterday, I mean, yeah, early foul trouble for him kind of set him aside. Clinging has become a non-factor, which has been really good for you guys, just not have that size. Like you said, they're veteran, and Robert Williams, love you, Time Lord, just has played so well, especially in the non-Wemby minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, okay, well, if he's out there when Wemby's out there, when can we get him out there in the non-Wemby limits? Because let me be frank, his endurance ain't that great.
Right.
So, and let me say this: not many big men have that kind of endurance to begin with.
To be playing like 40 minutes in a playoff game, yeah, that's I mean, Wemby's not doing that. Hell no. I mean, that's just
correct. Like I think, truthfully, Jokic. Anyone else that I'm missing here?
Maybe Gobert in like a game 7 could do it. You know,
Giannis.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah, so it's like those three. I mean, three of the bigger names who have been around for a little while. They needed more from Clingan, and I wish just like his defense on the perimeter, awful. Great rim protector, but whenever Wemby just pulls him outside, it's just over, and it just renders him moot. So it just sucks for Portland. They've played great. They've made it pretty competitive in some of these games, but in that first half was competitive. Second half was just like you said, it felt like a continuous what the fuck moment is going on for the Spurs in a great way. So, I mean, great win for you guys.
I mean, it was every player chipping in too, right? That was what was so cool, right? Dylan Harper goes nuts in game 3, and we haven't even talked about that, but his breakout performance and that baseline dunk is like already an all-time great Spurs playoff dunk. We haven't had many players that can do that, but I mean, a lot of great players, but players who said don't have that type of explosion. But that obviously was crazy. And then he only has 3 points in game 4 because the other 2 guys are rolling so much. So it's like that's what's so cool about this team is there's so many different ways they can beat you. Keldon Johnson hadn't done much in the first 3 games, and I thought he was much better in game 4. So it was good to see. It was good to see just like a kind of a total team effort. Vassell, another really good stretch for him. And Wemby defensively was just everywhere. I mean, just absolutely, ate the Blazers up. The block and kind of control and then stare down of Denny was enjoyable.
11 stocks.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. 4 steals and 7 blocks in a playoff game in 34 minutes, which I'll say, I mean, coming off a concussion, congrats to you, friend. Like the fact that you could get that. I think the game I was most impressed with outside of Wemby, of course, was Castle. Like it was just a great controlled game. And this is like, you don't need him to make a bunch of threes, but you're happy when he makes 3 of 6. Like, can you,
good Lord, bite your hand off of that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, give me like 2 of 5, 2 of 6, 3 of 6 nights. Like, don't need to be much more than that, but make the teams like have to guard you so that way we can open it up a little bit. So, was very impressed with the Spurs win, but the thing I only question, the thing I ask myself a lot is past Harper and Cornette and Keldon, that's your 8. Including your 5 starters. Barnes maybe here and there, and I've liked the minutes they've gotten from Bryant too. My question is, does that depth feel like enough to you to go against like the Thunder?
To go against the Thunder, it's not as deep as the Thunder, but it's
is that like, I know it's not deep enough. I mean, it doesn't need to be as deep as the Thunder because the Thunder are going to need to shorten their rotation too. But does that quality of depth seem good enough to go against OKC?
It does. I still would favor OKC slightly. I know, the Spurs beat them 4-1 in the regular season. And a couple of those games, those were very real wins, right? Like the Thunder were clearly trying, and the Spurs just, beat them. But that was a long time ago. A lot of those wins were a long time ago. Shea's on absolute fire right now. They're also going to have an easier path to get there. So I think that's part of it as well. So
a little easier game-wise.
Yes, they'll probably play less games, leading up to that. So I think that's that's going to play a role as well. I do feel like it's enough. I do feel like it's enough. I mean, that 8 I feel very comfortable with, and I think Carter Bryant's minutes will probably increase as the playoffs go. As long as he's making the occasional shot, I think he'll play quite a bit in the next round against either Minnesota or Denver. I just think he'll be important. That's like a big weakness of the Spurs is kind of the big 3-4s that can kind of go against like a Gordon or a Naz Reid or a Jaden McDaniels type, and he can do that. So physically. So I do feel comfortable with that depth. And I mean, the whole thing is Wemby's health. If he's playing and healthy, they've got a shot to beat anybody.
Absolutely agree. Anything else in this game?
No. Looking forward to Game 5.
All right, from your team to mine.
Yeah, let's do it. Beat down.
Listen, the fact that I don't want to make every podcast we talk about the Celtics me just like having a slight mini boner for Jason Tatum, and I need to chill on those moments if I can. The fact that he threw up 37 and 11 in yesterday's game, his shot looks so much better. But smoother. I need to stop.
Looks smoother.
Yes, so much smoother. But yesterday was all about Peyton Pritchard just motherfucking the entire Sixers and just staring down Mike Tirico and Reggie Miller every shot he made after shot number 4. I mean, it was so much fun. And it was again one of those moments where I think I texted you guys like during Game 1 that I was reliving the world class, or what was it? The Olympics gold medal match of U.S. versus Canada last weekend. Yeah, had to live round 2 of that yesterday during this game for like the first like few minutes, and then I got to be loud as possible whenever my wife woke up because she took a later nap yesterday, and I was so ecstatic just throughout this entire game with how Peyton Pritchard played, with how Tatum looked in that second half, even how Brown looked like defensively, especially his defense in Game 3 was incredible too. But his defense in Game 4 was great, and the fact that I got to see Luka Garza play more than 10 minutes made me very happy. So,
you've been begging for it.
I have been, but the fact that all the Celtics centers are just going to get into continuous foul trouble is just crazy to me. But that's what happens when
Joel had a couple really bad fouls yesterday.
He had 2 really bad ones. 2 of them, I'm like, how is this a foul? But that's what happens when Joel Embiid inevitably returns and says he's coming back an hour before game time. I was just like, oh, great, here we go.
Yeah, that was that. I don't know though. I think that was really good for you guys. Like, I think it really threw off their kind of offensive rhythm big time. He had a couple decent moments, but he actually looked pretty spry. For like relatively for being out for a while. But I don't know if that. I mean, that was a gamble that didn't quite pay off. Obviously down 3-1 now, but. No, Pritchard, you're right. Pritchard's the story, and the end of quarter shots, it's like uncanny. It's just like incredible.
There's a
times it perfectly.
There's a highlight reel of Pritchard shots, just end of quarter Pritchard shots that are better than about 4/5 of the league. Like that, just in their regular highlights. I'm saying,
right.
Yeah, Pritchard has a career highlights of just end of quarter shots that are just better than anyone else's regular highlights. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's uncanny that he pulls that off so many times. But no, this is a real kind of like, okay, let's show how much better we are than this team situation. And barring some kind of brain fart again at home like you guys had in Game 2, this should be over in Game 5.
I'll be in Vegas watching this game on my new job's like department retreat. Am I concerned? Only because I'm watching it in West Coast time, and it's going to be 4:00 during this happy hour that we're supposed to be at. I don't know if I told you this. There's a few different NBA guys who've already reached out to me through the new job. They all found out that I'm an NBA fan. They're like, hey, you want to come watch the game with us, like after we have our dinners and everything? I'm like, yes. I'm like, just be prepared. If the Celtics do win, I'm going to be ecstatic and just might have to have a good old time. But no, yesterday was just, to me, it was a reminder of how good this team can be. Because Game 3, it felt very carried by Tatum and Brown. Game 3 did. Game 4 is like, okay, when Pritchard's on, it's such a great help. The guy I'm waiting to see if he can finally have a great offensive game, because he's had some really good defensive moments. Is Derek White. Like Derek White's 2 blocks were ridiculous yesterday. And it just won't get talked about enough. But his offense just has kind of disappeared. It was his most efficient game, which is unfortunate because it was 2 for 5 yesterday. I just wish we got more of that. And part of me is also... You're
going to need more going forward. You're going to need more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My other curiosity is, when do we see Shireman go into the starting lineup instead of Sam Hauser? because Sam Hauser's given me nothing on offense
Yeah,
recently.
could be round two. Could be round
Yeah.
two.
So, or I'm hoping it might be game 5. Like,
Well, yeah.
honestly, just get us a game before we play New York or Atlanta and be like, hey, here's the switch. Let's see how it works. Or maybe we do wait till round 2, so that way we don't like mess with the groove like Philly did with bringing in Embiid.
Yeah.
Back to Embiid really quickly though. You mentioned it. Bringing him in was a massive gamble. Like it felt in the moment. I was like for a half a second, I'm like, oh, this is dangerous for Boston. I'm like, wait, this is just ruining Maxey and George's groove that they've had the past 2 games, and they've kept it close with us. Edgecombe had a great game 2 and a bad game 3 offensively, and I was like, okay, Embiid's out there. Congrats! I would bet every under on Edgecombe if I would have been smart enough to do that. And then it just felt like everything felt disjointed. It felt like it had to go to Embiid after his high scoring first quarter, which he drawed like 6 fouls already in the first quarter. And I mean, I could run on a tangent for this man for hours, but I texted you guys my thoughts. It just felt very disjointed. And for Sixers fans thinking that this series could still be won by the Sixers after Embiid's return, his plus minus was minus 25. So you tell me how it looked having him on the court.
Yeah, I mean, not great. Yeah, it was. I just thought, yeah, they just play so much slower. You know, when he's on the floor,
And they're not
that was something that really was hurting your team in the especially in games 2 and 3 was the pace of Philly, right? So
Yeah.
that was like we said, it was a gamble that just I don't know. It seems like I mean it's Joel Embiid, so it's not like just some random role player. Like it's like if he's healthy to play, it's like it'd be foolish not to play him, I guess. But it's just I don't know, the way they worked him in was a little bit odd.
Did it feel like Maxey took 14 shots?
Not really.
He took 14. I thought he took 7. I thought he took
31 shots in game 3.
Well, I knew that. That one I was very well aware of. It felt like he did not. He came down and took a shot every time down. This game, it felt like it, and maybe it was the come down from that. It was like I saw you in game 3, huck it up. Game 4, you had to like pass it and do a little more delegation. So it felt. Yeah, it felt very weird for Philly because I enjoy them so much more when they are playing at that fast pace.
I think a lot of their fans do too.
A tweet I did see, and now I'm getting scared. Not that Nick Nurse is inventive enough to do it. When is the moment that they decide, hey, let's put Bona and Embiid on the floor at the same time, and we actually get a real rebounder and like just an aggressive guy? Because he's terrifying defensively. I don't know how much you watch him defensively, but whenever he gets switched, like the Celtics don't switch him into anything because they're afraid of him defensively.
Yeah. He's awesome. I watched him a bunch in Eurobasket for Turkey. He plays for Turkey with Şengün. That was actually kind of a cool pairing. Him and Şengün together. It actually like kind of fit.
So and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm curious if that would work better for Embiid. Like Embiid out there, I'm like, when it's a bad Edgecombe or yesterday a bad Oubre game, I'm like, hey, do we just throw Bona out there, get some size, and make sure we're rebounding? Because yesterday Boston killed them on the offensive boards because Embiid couldn't seem to move down there. I mean, he got 10 rebounds, don't get me wrong. But it's different from getting a rebound when guys aren't trying to get offensive rebounds and when like the Celtics have 3 guys and Peyton Pritchard's getting offensive board.
Yeah.
So it's timely offensive rebounding, which Boston does so well, and Philly just doesn't know how to box out. They lost the rebound game 51-30. That's horrific.
That hurts.
Anything else on this game?
No.
Great. Rockets Lakers real quick. Congrats to Rockers. You Rockets, you won a game. And it still comes in the wake of what the hell is going on with Kevin Durant in Houston. So
I mean, game 3 is probably the one we should maybe comment on a little bit more because we haven't potted since then. What a just fascinating collapse that was. That was just I've been saying this to people. It's like the mistakes they're making down the stretch are like mistakes I would get annoyed at like my 5th grade team making. Like they're like crazy mistakes and like fouling 3-point shooters. And that pass from Jabari Smith was just like, what in the world are you thinking? Like just crazy. And then the Lakers, I mean, just steal game 3. Like I have no business winning game 3. Steal it, and then game 4 is like their throwaway game. It's like I could tell very quickly. 2 minutes in the game, I looked over at Marin, my girlfriend. I was like, they're gonna get killed. I was like, I think the Rockets are gonna roll tonight, and they did. It was like that classic, like we don't want to get swept. Let's play hard. LeBron was terrible.
Yeah,
It's like genuinely one of the worst. It might be like the worst playoff game of his career.
it's up there.
It's up there. Yeah, I mean, Game 4, 2011 finals. That's for the stakes, I guess. Maybe you'd say that, but I mean, it was bad. It was just really bad. It got ripped by like Reed Shepherd. It was. I mean, he just didn't have the legs clearly. So that rest will help them, and it does. We're getting a little Austin Reeves possibilities. Like that's.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Would you introduce that now, or would you? I mean, or would you wait for round 2 for that one?
Tricky.
Too?
That's tricky because I think they're playing with fire a little bit if they think like, oh, we'll just roll in Game 5. Like the Rockets like should beat them. Like it's crazy that they're down 3-1. I mean, without Luka and Reeves, like I know even without KD, it's like they should be winning this series, but they just have played so stupidly. It's hard to like see them winning 3 more games in a row. But I don't think they should play with fire and just be like, we're fine. Like if Reeves is okay and ready to go, I'd actually throw him out there because that's a big thing they're missing is just like the shot creation, the ball handling. I mean, like there's just times where it's like, man, like they're having a hard time getting into their offense because like they're just getting hounded. They don't have like a traditional ball handler. So I if he's ready, I would play him. But it is a risk because you could have 3-4 more days off if you win on Wednesday. So I imagine Game 1 of that would be like on Sunday.
Yeah. No, I don't think round 2 series will start either until Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. So
depending on also where your matchup lies too. So I think
it's going to be Thunder, so it's going to be
that'll be quicker.
That should finish tonight. Yeah. So I imagine they would play Game 1 like on Sunday. So yeah, I mean that gives you 3-4 more days. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tricky one. But I think if he's ready to go, you may as well bring him back.
Do they play Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Okay, so they get the extra day. Yeah. I think. Man, Game 5 back in LA, I'd wait. I'd wait to say like Game 5. If we don't win it in LA, Game 5, then we bring him back in Houston. That way we can try to just close it out then. Because if they don't win Game 5, then I get a little more concerned. Listen, no one's ever come back from down 3-0. The best one ever was still 23 when the Celtics somehow made it to Game 7, and then Tatum busted his ankle in the first 2 minutes. But I don't think the Rockets are coming back from this. I don't think it's happening.
I don't either, but it could be an awkward series. Yeah, if it could turn an awkward series if they mess around in Game 5. So we'll see.
DeAndre Ayton was the best Laker yesterday. How does that feel to say out loud?
Yeah, that's tough. He actually legitimately did have a really good game. Like he was actually really solid.
I was very impressed with his game, and if he has a game like that,
and the other guys play well, yeah, they should be fine. Yeah,
on a game like that when everyone's kind of clicking.
Okay. KD, what's that like? Is he going to play?
He's gone. I think he's gone after this year. I think.
Is he going to play in Game 5? Like, I just what is the injury? I don't like. I know it's knee. They just see knee, but like, what is it?
They talked about it like during the broadcast yesterday. I don't know if you were listening or just had it on mute. He had swelling that they had to take out of his knee. Like they had fluid in his knee that they had to take. I'm like, okay, but when did this happen? Like because I know he misses Game 1. Everyone forgets they didn't play Game 1. Like Simmons today, I don't know if you listened to him, and I had to turn it off halfway through already because he's losing his marbles. I think a little bit more and more each pod. But he didn't play Game 1. Comes back Game 2, solid, not phenomenal, but solid. But then and then he misses Game 3. No one knows what happened to him because they were all under the assumption he was playing, and then it just seems to have progressively gotten worse. So I don't know. I'm curious. I don't think he plays Game 5 if it's like they're draining fluid from his knee, unless something miraculous happens. I would be very shocked if he's back starting next season, and that's crazy to say that after they put the extension on him and also traded for him this offseason. I don't know. I can't. I don't know if you've got this much bad chemistry already.
It seems broken. Yeah. It seems broken.
I mean, it might be move on from him
and coach.
Well, listen, I think it has to be coach and full staff. Ben Phillips, listen, what the F are you doing?
Ben Phillips?
What's it?
Sullivan, right?
Sullivan, whatever.
Yes.
The the bald-headed tall man who ruined the Celtics. I get him out of coaching.
Remind me to share with you after we're done recording a friend of mine's opinion of Ime. It's hilarious, but I don't want to say it on the podcast. So.
What are we doing here? What's a podcast for at this point?
I will tell you later.
Okay, fine. The final series that hasn't been discussed, whether because it's not playing tonight and they only played on Saturday, is the Knicks Hawks.
Yeah, but a series that's worth discussing because it's been awesome.
Correct, and maybe you say not the best, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yes,
We've had incredible clutch games from the Hawks. CJ
2 1-point
McCollum,
wins.
yeah, CJ McCollum has looked phenomenal. Game 4 was much more of a Knicks game. Like it looked great. Mikal Bridges has just completely disappeared.
Yikes.
Adam, my question for you is: I don't know if you heard this. Thought it was just Dame. Did Dame just have better PR than CJ?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
No, I just think Dame's far better. Like, just out in front.
That's a stretch. Yeah, that is.
But I do think CJ has had CJ's last 2 stops in New Orleans and Washington are just 2 of the worst run franchises in the league. For him to be put for a franchise that just was stuck with a point guard with the ball in his hands the entire time in Trae Young, and then move on to this version of a guy in CJ, who, listen, let's be real, he's past the prime of his career, but he is still an incredible shot maker, and we're seeing it right now. And their reliance on him and Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, it's been very fun to watch this Hawks team. And on the other side, it's just been Cat and Brunson just carrying as much as they can, and Anunoby.
OG's been great, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I should really say that too. OG's been very good. This reason why I drafted him on my team. I was like, his defense has been really good. I know, man, me too. But it's been those 3 against each other. It's those trios really just fighting so hard against each other right now, and it's been a very fun series. And we get Game 5 of that tomorrow night. But like, what's been your just first impressions so far as we are 4 games in?
I mean, the Knicks. I mean, I going into the playoffs, I made the Knicks my finals pick, and I was obviously a little worried about that after Game 3 of the series. But again, 2 1-point losses. It's like those are both. They literally had shots to win, like both games. So it's like it's not like these have been like disasters. They're much better in Game 4. Mitchell Robinson's been really solid. I thought Josh Hart had a really good Game 4.
He's been so wishy washy though, and
Hart, yes, for sure. Way up and down. I mean, that's part of the problem with this team is like it's just this roller coaster. There's so rarely just this steady presence. Brunson's really the only guy who's kind of consistent. But I thought Game 4 was a really encouraging performance. It's like, okay, back against the wall. Let's bounce back from this kind of these 2 weird losses, and we'll be fine. Game 5, they got to get that one, obviously. But I've loved like this series. I think there's so many like interesting like strategic choices the teams are making. There's been some kind of playing time stuff that has not made a ton of sense from Mike Brown, but then also like Atlanta just kind of like reaching for offense off the bench and things like that. Like it's been really interesting. Kispert gets like a run here and there, but then doesn't play at all in the second half. It's like they are like both teams are flawed, and I think that's making it kind of a fun series.
Is this outside of the Spurs series been the series you've wanted to watch the most?
Yeah, going into the playoffs, I would have said Wolves Nuggets, but the injuries really hurt that, and then obviously 3-1, and Jokic isn't playing well, and I mean so. Yeah, but yes, how it's played out so far, I would say, besides, kind of the Spurs, it's been my most entertaining series. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Same thing with like the Celtics. I mean, the fact that we're getting this listen, Jonathan Kuminga has also been the thing we should talk about from his Game 3 and Game 2. We're just so good. Yeah. Steve Kerr's possible retirement should be really coming quickly if Kuminga's somehow gets them out of. I mean, Kuminga's help gets the Hawks out of round 1. It's just so much fun to see like those kind of stories where like, listen, you were kind of thrown away on the side for what was supposed to be a good team, and then you're stepping up and helping out a team like this off the bench. I mean, Kuminga has been very impressive. When he's locked in, when he's as confident as he is on offense, his defense is reciprocated of that same confidence. And I think there's a lot of players who play that way too. I don't get me wrong, but he is very much of like, hey, when the high is high, he's in. But when the low is low, he's kind of out of it. But
yeah.
He's had 3 straight games here. Even when he went 3 for 10 in Game 4, his defense still was prevalent in that game, and so I was relevant. In that game, and so I've been very optimistic about his play throughout this entire series as well.
Yeah, and then I think we should shout out Nick Okongwu, who's been awesome.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like he's everywhere. He's just making great plays both ends. He's knocking on a couple threes. He is kind of showing what Hey, I can be a starting center for like a really solid playoff team and do this for the next 3-4 years. Like I can be kind of one of the pillars of this team going forward. That's been really encouraging because obviously they traded Porzingis in that trade. That was maybe more of a health thing than anything else, but
right.
he's been awesome. I mean, he's been awesome. So I mean, he's going toe to toe with the Knicks, and I think that's got to be encouraging for the Hawks, both in this series and going forward.
Absolutely agree. The Hawks should try to find ways to get Kispert going. 1 of 7. I mean, you're right. The bench scoring for them, if it's not Kuminga, very curious where they're going to continue to get it from them. Gabe Vincent also been wishy-washy throughout this entire series too. So good game 4, but they need more from him moving forward. Anything else on the 5 games before we wrap this up?
No. It's been honestly a really fun playoff so far. Injuries have been a bummer. We talked about it before. I mean, obviously Ant and DiVincenzo going down. DiVincenzo, for a long time here, but
yeah.
And Ant, who knows? Obviously that's gonna play a factor in the next, the rest of this series and possibly the next one. So that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, the injuries are always a bummer. Hate when that happens. Obviously Katie included in that too. But I think the games have been fun. The series have been competitive. There's been surprises. I mean, tonight we've got a just gigantic game 4 in Orlando that we'll obviously talk about here on the other part of the podcast. So I'm loving it so far. Like tons of games. It sounds like looks like Sunday is going to be our last 4-game NBA day because I don't think that many series are going to go 7 to where there'll be 4 game 7s on Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, I do like when we get to the kind of 2 or 3 a night because 4, man, it's especially when you got other stuff going on. It's like it's a lot to catch up on, and I like to watch every possession. So it's a lot.
It worked out for me just because these past few Sundays have been like the Sundays the Celtics have played, and like it's been like my wife's been working or sleeping throughout the day, so it's been like okay, I can catch up on the games when she's sleeping, and then whenever she leaves for work, I'll just watch the times I've missed. And so they have this like, especially on the Sunday yesterday, they have this like extra 30 minutes that they have between. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this helps me out so much.
That was clutch yesterday. Yep, helped me too.
Huge because I could make my dinner, and then I was like, oh, I could just fill this time with MasterChef. So it was just like that's been our show of just replacing NBA whenever it's not on. So no, it's been fun. You're right. There's been, of course, like the OKC massacre against Phoenix when that was coming.
We knew that. Yeah, we had that.
And here's the thing too, you can count every year at least 1 or 2 first round series being blah. And then it's just like, then you're going to be like, okay, and you have 1 or 2 series that are a lot of fun. It's what happens with the middle 4. Yeah. Like what happens in the middle 4 that makes a lot of fun in the first round. And Philly, Boston's had some okay games, but it's been mostly just like 2 games have been fun, 2 games have been blowouts. And it's just been like, okay, what can we get from the rest of the series? And here in Orlando being the biggest surprise as of right now, I think in these so far in the first few games of this playoffs, maybe even LA too, just with how well they've played against Houston. But the fact that we're getting some pretty fun series out of it, some competitive series out East. Listen, the East might be less talented than the West, but they will still fight tooth and nail to just show who's going to even make it out of the first round.
Yeah, and I think your point about the middle series is a smart one. I think the middle series have been good so far. So again, we're always gonna have a dud, in there, a dud or 2. So I think it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to more.
Absolutely agree. Thanks everyone for listening. We're going to be continuously posting like the first part of the week. If something crazy happens, you can expect like a late night pod. If you're trying to reach me, I'm in Vegas for the next 4 days of my first Vegas trip. And then next week I'll be in Colorado. And in Madison. I'm just going to be all around in the next 2 weeks. So going to hopefully not get jet lag at some point. But thanks everyone for listening. Go Celtics. Go Spurs. And you know what? Go Magic. Like,
why not?
Like, go Magic. And also, you know what? I'm going to say it. Go Raptors. Listen, you want a disgusting game. For the people who thought that was the final thing, actually, real quick. People thought that was the worst playoff game of NBA history yesterday. And I would like to remind them how many bad Pistons games we had in the middle of the 2000s, whenever that was going on.
Yeah, so, that whoever is saying that, they weren't alive for the early 2000s.
Or just watching.
Or watching, yeah. No, there was many a playoff game like that in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Brutal games. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.